Welcome to Sweeping the Country one more time. I'm your host, Derek Walker, along with Mr. Jimmy Carter. And Jimmy, I don't even know where to start. There's so much going on in the news.
Well, we're at the end of April as we record this, and there's just, where am I? just don't know where to go, to my left-hand side or my right. Let's do the obvious, Tucker Carlson.
Go to the right.
This is what we think we know.
Okay, go.
Rupert Murdoch, no one's talking, okay? So this is from people within the company that's guessing. He had no idea this was coming. His staff had no idea that it was coming. And if you don't know, we're talking about Tucker Carlson, who is a Fox star.
Yeah.
In fact, the highest rated show on Fox. He got fired on Monday.
Crazy.
Now, he didn't know. He was blindsided by it.
Mm-hmm.
Rupert Murdoch did it, who is the big poobah of the company. Why did he do it?
Yeah, I mean, the question, because he's getting...
There's a couple of reasons why he did it.
Okay.
3 reasons.
Go.
One, probably most importantly, they say they're trying to sell Fox.
Okay, fair enough.
Fox News, trying to sell it. And in order to sell it, they can't have someone that's a flamethrower like Tucker Carlson on there. He's the biggest flamethrower of the bunch.
Doesn't he bring in a bunch of revenue, though?
Not as much as the company being sold.
Oh,
gets.
okay, fair enough.
So we're talking much bigger, in the billions of dollars.
Okay, fair enough.
And, he caused an initial shock on the stock exchange. It lost, the company lost $500 million in value.
Yeah.
Now, whether it'll stay that, who knows? And because no matter who dies or who goes away, I mean, Bill O'Reilly was their biggest star.
I remember that.
And they took him off because, he had some problems in the sexual harassment area with some of the people that worked there.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't put up with it. There's the possible of selling of Fox and having to clean it up for a sale.
Okay, fair.
I think it's just been, the man's getting old, and he's the one that loved it.
Yeah.
And one of the sons didn't have to do with it. One of the sons is there, and I think they'd like to move on and make movies and do other things.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, number 2.
So I think that's some of it.
Okay.
Another thing is how Tucker handled the January 6th deal and the Dominion voting machine problem that cost them $787 million in a settled lawsuit.
See, I get that.
Tucker was really flamethrowing on that one, just saying things that I'm not going to try to get into whether he was telling the truth or not.
Yeah, for whatever. Hey, I mean, at the end of the day.
The side that he was pushing was not what other people, at least at a corporate level, and other people were thinking. So that's some of it.
Okay. And
there's a woman named Abby who was a former producer and booker for Maria Bartiromo, and then also worked on the Tucker Carlson show. And she has filed a lawsuit claiming everything in the world. I mean,
you got to watch out for ladies
sexual
named
harassment.
Abby, yeah?
One of the things was they had a big picture that was blown up. I saw the picture, not theirs, but I saw it when it came out.
Yeah.
It was Nancy Pelosi in a bathing suit in Italy or something.
Okay.
Did you ever see that picture?
I do not want to see that picture, but no, I never.
They had it all blown up, and it was. I saw it. I couldn't understand why she was out there, with it anyway. But
right, I got you.
It was something.
I understand you can't unsee it.
Claiming that and other boy-like behavior. Bad boy behavior that was going on in mostly a male shop, and she was not happy about all that.
Okay.
So between that lawsuit that's in federal court,
the
January 6th stuff, the Dominion voting thing, some of the claims and flame-throwing claims that Tucker Carlson had done and said, they just said enough. Even though he was the leader and the biggest thing going on that network.
I get it, though. I mean, when you look at something like that, when you're talking lawsuits in the neighborhood of $700 million and you're costing the company, it doesn't matter. It's like a basketball player. What's his net, right? How many points does he score versus turnovers and all that and fouls and all that? So maybe the net on Tucker Carlson is not as good as everybody thought it was.
Well, he was getting $10 million a year.
So,
and you're dealing with a company that's hundreds of millions.
Right.
So it
makes sense
to wipe something $10 million off the books.
Yeah.
Even though it cost them $500 million in stock today, we'll see if it comes back. But
right.
$3 million a night. There you go. So the Fox News formula that became the most watched cable network, it's still there. it beats MSNBC by 2 or 3 times,
Mm-hmm.
and the MSNBC, excuse me, is competitive. CNN's the one that just beats to death.
Yeah, for
And
some
they
reason.
fired Don Lemon today.
What?
Now that one didn't shock anybody too much,
Yeah.
because Don Lemon had been getting misunderstood.
Wow, you are very polite, Jimmy. You are very polite. Diplomatic.
I mean, he was getting drunk on New Year's Eve. And
yeah, I remember.
He was saying this and that about. I'm not going to repeat what he said about
please don't.
Women in age, and then he got on the morning show and fought with the 2 women that were on there, and had to take a day off here and there. They just had enough of Don Lemon.
Yeah, right.
So he's gone.
Right.
And I don't know where he ends up, actually. And then we've got this guy who was the NBC Universal Chief Executive Officer, Jeff Shell, who won't get a severance. He was at the top of the game. He's being, he got, I guess, a sexual harassment complaint made against him by a longtime CNBC correspondent. That name was not going to go out, but it went out. 41-year-old journalist Hadley Gamble.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that had been going on for maybe a decade.
So they broke up, and then...
Well, I don't know that. We don't know that.
Come on.
You don't want you sued, but he was fired for cause, and his contract was terminated. Company does not pay him a severance package because of all that. So, kaboom, another one of those people Me Too'd.
Yeah.
Me Too'd out of the company. They don't... NBC Comcast has not tolerated that even just a little bit.
No.
Matt Lauer.
Yep.
Who never reappeared.
He didn't. They tried to do something with him, and then it failed too, and he's just gone. I don't know what happened to Matt Lauer.
Yeah, I don't know. He made a lot of money and he saved it, but it's still, you would think he would have come back kind of by now.
You know what, Jimmy, though, some of those guys, I don't know what it is. It's hard to forgive. I mean, then you have on the flip side, you have the guys like Morgan Wallen who pulled a no-show on that concert, and we'll see what happens. But I mean, some people survive the fire and some don't. It's very strange. I don't know what the formula is.
The whole no-show on a concert deal.
Yeah.
He got sick. Okay. He does a concert. He blows his voice out. He's got another concert to do the next night. He thinks he can come back from it, get a shot, gargle, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so they kept thinking during the day he was going to do it. So what I've said about this is nobody has any gray hair around them.
True.
All they have is a bunch of people full of piss and vinegar, on the way up doing it. Because the way you handle something like this, he may not even have been on the scene.
Right.
He may have very well stayed in Nashville because it's only a 30-minute flight from Nashville to Oxford.
Sure, yeah.
So may have well just stayed at the house and said, if I feel better, I'll fly in.
Yeah.
Boom, here we go.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they should have done. He should have been there. If you wanted to play it all the way up to the time, let the opening act play, let people get their seats and everything else. And then when it's time for him to come out, assuming that he can't sing, he comes out, everybody screams and hollers, he waves at everybody, and then he tries to talk.
Right.
Like that.
Sure,
and you say, as you can see, I don't have a voice tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so sorry. First of all, I want to tell you that everybody here, this is a free concert. You're going to get your money back for the seat.
No doubt.
You want to stay, we're more than happy to the band to play. Hardy's going to come out and sing. Ernest's going to come out and sing some of my songs. Maybe we'll get one of you up here to sing some of my songs.
Yeah,
but
sure.
We're going to do something that I'm not going to be able to sing.
Right.
So
you just described.
I'm really sorry about this, and it happens to everybody, the pollen or whatever it is. But I'm here, and I just don't know what else to do. So I'm sorry this has happened, and that's all you have to do.
Yeah, it's brilliant. What you're saying in essence is that I give a darn about you. That is,
I mean, I can't help it that I got sick.
Right,
I'm here, but there's nothing I can do about it.
No, and that's right. And talking about no gray hair around him, had he had some people with experience that could push him up and say, hey, or prop him up and say, hey, just go do this.
This is what we need to do.
Right, but
you get around somebody who's all of a sudden they're multimillionaires. And he's got his Bubba friend around him.
Right.
And they're, advising him. But I don't, because remember, he got, what do you call, not Me Too, but he got canceled. He got canceled.
He got canceled.
When he got canceled, he doesn't have the top people in this and that and the other working for him because they couldn't.
Right.
They're still a little bit persona non grata.
Of course. Yeah, of course they are. Yeah. Yeah, fascinating. I think of guys like going back to like Toby Keith, and if you remember, Toby made a few movies, but the first movie he made was garbage. I can't remember if it was Beer for My Horses or not, but it was garbage. But it's the same thing. Nobody around him would say, "Hey, Toby, this is no good. Go back to singing. Just forget this." Not a knock on Toby. I love Toby Keith.
No, nobody was going to tell Toby anything.
No, because there's too many yes men.
He's got a guy that's pretty strong manager.
Yeah.
And I guess he would listen to him on certain things.
Yeah, maybe so, yeah.
Sometimes your talent goes out, writes checks that can't be cashed literally for the career.
Right.
Well, it happens to the best of people. I can think of several right now that are not reading the room very well.
Right, yeah.
And Tucker Carlson was reading the room.
Yeah.
He and his producer, who also got fired, just kept going more and more and more about January 6th and all of
that wrong tree. Look at Dan Bongino.
And kept on barking and barking and barking.
And look at Bongino. He got the shaft too. And so I think some of these guys, I don't know if they think they know it all. I just don't know. Maybe they think they know their audience better than the producers do, or the people paying the bills. I don't know. But at the end of the day, they're out.
One of these things here said, Chairman Rupert Murdoch, with input from board members and other Fox corporate executives, made the decision to fire. So it came straight from the board. People familiar with the situation are not authorized to comment publicly on it, as you wouldn't be able to do on that. The board of Fox, I'd have to look it up and see, but that's a wide variety of people. Those aren't just a bunch of, right-wing nuts that are on there. So,
Jimmy,
anyway,
do they pay, like, when something like that happens, there's a contract, do they let his contract run to the end? Do they pay it out?
They've got to pay off his contract. He wasn't fired for call. Now, this guy here, this chief executive, Jeff Shell, he can fight it, but there's in all these people's contract, O'Reilly's and everything, is and I think the word is still out there, moral turpitude.
Okay.
It's a part of your contract. We call it the old MT. And that covers you exposing yourself or getting naked at the grocery store.
Right. Stupid stuff like that. Yeah.
Doing stuff like sexual harassment or having sex at work like Matt Lauer did. Listen, it's just, if you fired everybody that did all these things, you wouldn't have anybody half the time at these places. Stuff happens.
You know who one of the board of directors is at Fox?
Who?
Paul Ryan.
Yeah, that's right. He does give him some big guidance of Wisconsin, the former Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't put up with any of this stuff at all.
Exactly.
So I'm sure he told them to summarily fire him.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah. Fascinating.
Is there anybody else's name you recognize there?
No, Rupert Murdoch, of course. It looks like
Paul Ryan's very powerful on that board.
Yeah, Lachlan Murdoch. I guess he would be.
That's the son.
His son, yeah. William Burke, Burck. I don't recognize. Chase Carey, and Diaz, Roland Hernandez. He's a correspondent that I've seen from time to time. And Jacques Nessar.
Well, anyway, so those are the people that are up there. I'm sure Paul Ryan definitely had something to do with it.
No doubt about it.
Definitely interesting. So who knows I don't know if anybody who's next. A few of them better calm down is all I got to say. They're looking for heads.
Exactly.
Or maybe walk the lane, because Jesse, what's his name?
Oh, yeah.
Waters.
I know who you're talking about.
He better, he survived the demise of O'Reilly where he started.
Who comes next, though, for Fox? I mean, who do they push up in the forefront? Because they're very good at
push up?
Yeah.
Jesse.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think so.
It's not going to be any of the girls, I don't think. I don't think they're strong enough.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Jesse, I don't know how he tests.
Yeah.
But he's a bit of a flamethrower like Tucker, so maybe
we'll see.
And Don Lemon, anybody they replace, he'd become just a pain in the butt.
I agree. That whole drunken New Year's thing went sideways on him, and it just made people just check out.
Because he was a really good reporter once upon a time.
Yeah, I agree.
And so was what's his name, Cuomo.
Yeah,
was a very good reporter.
What happened to Cuomo?
Point, but then they both went off the deep end.
Yeah,
on that.
No doubt about it.
I was looking at this story, getting away from that.
Yeah.
Well, here's somebody bad behavior. Let's stick with the theme.
All right.
Bad behavior.
Who's rude?
Savannah Chrisley. I never watched that show, Chrisley's.
Oh, Chrisley Knows Best.
Never watched it. Mm-hmm. The mom and the dad are in prison.
Yeah, right.
Federal prison.
Right.
And now Savannah Chrisley wants to get on a Southwest plane up in New York and does not want to check her bag. They said there's no room in the overhead. You got to check your bag.
Oh,
You
God.
can't. I don't want to check my bag. Let me try to get on here. No, you got to check your bag. And they had a big fight.
Yeah.
And then she got the pilot involved, and they threw her off. And it's just, some of these people, can't they behave?
Doesn't she fly first class?
Pseudo celebrities like that.
Yeah.
A pseudo celebrity.
Right. Isn't that the best? You're right about. Doesn't she fly first class? They include baggage.
There's no Southwest on first class.
It's Southwest. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Southwest.
Well, that explains it.
But it's like the flying bus.
Yeah, right.
All these things are the flying bus.
Yeah.
I got an invitation right here to go do something.
Okay.
And it requires me to go to Vegas, and I haven't flown in 4 years, and I don't know that I want to.
Jimmy, come on. What is it?
I can't say on here, but I'll tell you.
Oh, you're killing me.
It's a thing in Vegas. It's
you're not gonna. I mean, what's the flight time to Vegas for you? 4 hours?
3 hours. Something.
3 hours. So you get a flight, maybe $300 or $400. Just go first class. Add $200 and go first class.
No, I would do that if there was first class wherever I was flying out of. You just never know. Southwest is so convenient, but it's just it's overcrowded.
It's cheap.
And also ain't cheap anymore. No,
it isn't.
No flight is cheap anymore.
Well, then go Delta.
It's going to be $600 or $700 or whatever to do it.
No, get on Delta. You got first class in Delta. You don't have to deal with anything. You get in first. You get off first. You get a dedicated bin for your luggage. I mean, you get one seatmate, and you get free drinks and food. It's worth it.
Yeah,
I think it's worth it.
You may be right.
Yeah.
American Airlines, well, this is what happens up there. Boeing 737 takes off from the Columbus, Ohio airport, ingests some geese.
Oh, gosh.
I've heard that story before. Remember Sully? It happened, and this one of the engines flamed out, and it was on fire, and it was wonky and pulsing noises, and they had to dump fuel. Finally landed 40 minutes later, but scared everybody to death.
They need to get some of those charges that they have on military planes. When they see a bird heading toward an engine, just release one of those charges and take care of the birds. Something. I mean, they got radar.
Geese are big bird. It's like when they got into that U.S. Air engine with Sully.
Oh, they're huge.
They were lucky. It did get one of them, but it didn't get both. Seems that Taylor Swift's ex-boyfriend, he may have done something bad. He's now hooked up with some girl named Emma Laird, supposedly, that he's been making a movie with. But whatever she's telling her buddies, her model buddies and her other buddies who were following him on Instagram, they've all unfollowed him or blocked him from Instagram. So he might have been doing some hanky-panky or something, but whatever it is, Taylor didn't like it.
She looks like her.
Like a hot nickel.
Emma Laird, if I got the right pictures, looks like Taylor Swift.
A little bit.
I think. She got a little red hair, but otherwise she looks very similar. Interesting.
So there you are.
Interesting.
Katy Perry gets to go sleep in Windsor Castle.
Oh, that's
because she's going to play for the King Charles coronation.
Oh, very nice.
That's cool.
I like that.
John Travolta's white three-piece suit sold for $260,000. It was in the movie Saturday Night Fever. It was the scene
that's iconic.
where at the disco, where they did the Bee Gees' "More Than a Woman."
More than a woman to me.
More than me.
Oh yeah, 260,000.
From the world being too crazy, this is definitely Sudan. Keep an eye on Africa. There's a lot of stuff going
happening there. Yeah, that's crazy.
Africa's just crazy.
Yeah,
and definitely. It's where a lot of valuable minerals are, and gold.
Yes, indeed.
And all kinds of rarities.
Yeah,
and so that makes it interesting for Russia, China, others. They've got the Wagner Group. Is one of the groups that's trying to take over Sudan. It's got all kinds of good stuff. We now have an Africa command for part of the military.
Gosh, overnight.
And one of those things like Northern Command and this kind of command. We've got one in Africa, and we've got troops stationed in Africa.
Fascinating.
A lot of people don't realize that.
I did not know
Airplanes and stuff and everything.
Yeah, I didn't know.
So we evacuated our people from the embassy there.
Yeah.
In Khartoum, I believe it was.
Yeah, Khartoum is right.
So that's going on. It's one of those things. But it'll tell you, you better go. It's just one of those. It's one of those places. It's gonna, this is where a lot of the Al Qaeda went.
Yeah.
After all that, so
shouldn't be surprising, but it is.
People are having trouble with friendships.
In what way? I mean, what is
they don't have any.
Okay.
Generation Z people, and we were trying to say, how do you get to be a friend of somebody? How do you meet your friends?
Right.
All right, let's take our own selves.
Yeah.
There are 3 places where you get friends.
Okay. Can I guess one?
Okay.
Let me guess one. Now, this is old school, but I'm going to say it. Church.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That's actually 4 places, I think.
Okay. All right.
Church would definitely be one in the old days.
Yeah.
I don't have any friends that I still have from my regular church going as a kid.
I don't either.
I did have some friends at the time.
Yeah,
I did have friends at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy I met at church, he was my roommate in college for a time, and I just don't think
Keep
about it.
Keep in touch, huh? You just said,
I wish we kept better in touch.
You just said college.
Now,
would school be one?
School is definitely one.
Yeah.
I've still got friends that I met my friend Steve at school.
Oh, I know him. I know
my friend Ben at school.
Your kindergarten.
A lot of my people at school.
What was your kindergarten friend's first name? The guy from kindergarten.
Yeah.
Who's at your party?
Ben's my kindergarten friend.
Yeah, that's going way back. That's crazy.
Yep.
That's
crazy. Amazing.
Yeah.
Now the other place you get it, it's why we are friends.
Yeah.
It's through work.
Okay, work makes sense. Yeah, you meet a lot of people.
So you've got school, work, church, and we're running out of stuff because we live in a world now where people aren't going to church so much.
That's right.
They're going to school, but you know,
some online.
But if you're zooming at school, you're not meeting anybody, so you get no friends.
Yeah, that's right.
You've got work where if you're working, now they're working
home.
1 day a week. Nobody wants to go to work. There's a reason to go to work other than being a pain in the butt.
Right.
You get friends at work. You have a life that you can have outside of work with people you meet. So people now are trying to figure out how to make friends.
Crazy.
Well, one person suggests bring a book with you to the condo pool.
Okay.
Said one person found myself discussing books with other residents, and soon I was in the book club.
Oh, wow. Okay. Exciting.
That ain't working. That ain't working for me. Okay. Law school was where one person went to school.
Okay, fine.
Another way to create friendship was take classes.
Okay.
I'm always promoting a class in Austin.
Yeah.
At my camera store that I do commercials for.
Yeah.
That would be a great place to meet people. You have a hobby like photography.
Yeah.
You take a class. You hopefully somebody's there. Maybe you get lucky and find somebody.
Get lucky.
There's another one they suggested was go and volunteer at community theater.
That I like. That's kind of fun. People
set design, assistant to the director, prop master, doing different things. New to the theater, friendly group and ready to teach because they need humans and bodies.
Wow.
Now here's one that I could see you doing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Pickleball.
Oh man, I love anything involving pickles and balls. I really do.
You've seen that game? It's now on the network.
It's popular.
Pickleball?
Yeah,
it's human ping pong.
Yeah, it's giant size. Well, it's small tennis or big ping pong, however you look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. And I have never played. Have you picked up the ball or the paddle and tried it?
No.
I mean, I don't even know what the ball is made of. How come it doesn't?
I don't want to play ping pong. I just never did. I mean, the one thing I would play, but I'm not going to go to a pool hall, but I love playing pool.
Yeah, that was fun.
I enjoyed that. I always enjoyed playing pool.
Yeah, I did too. And I like ping pong a little bit.
Again, there's a reason to go to work.
Yeah.
Number one, you're not going like, what's his name, Jeff Shell, where you're poking to help. You're not going to do that. That's not good. But
oh my God.
There's some of that's gone on too over the years.
People
get married, people get relationships,
Yeah, you think, you take a book to the pool, you might be poking a bookworm. You don't know. You don't know. Jimmy.
You don't know where love is going to come out. and people are doing, that's why these match things are so popular.
Yeah, they
match and whatever else is, whatever. There's a bunch of them.
You want to hear something wild? I'll tell you something wild. My son's, and he's very good friends with him. He still talks to him just about every other night. Best man at his wedding, he met online. He was playing an online game, met the guy. They started playing together. Come to find out, he listened to you and I when we were broadcasting in Spokane. And he knew who I was, and pretty soon I became friends. Never even met the person face to face. The first time I met him was at my son's wedding 2 years ago, and the nicest guy in the world. But we met him completely online, and he and my son are best friends. Isn't that nuts? It's just
That's crazy. But this Generation Z has got a big problem with loneliness.
Yeah, boy.
With depression and anxiety. Those three things.
I can see it.
And it's because they're not going to work. Mm-hmm. It's because of COVID, and they didn't go to school, and they just have an absence of meeting people. At this point in my life, I don't care if I meet people.
Well, you've had a whole bunch of friends over the years. Yeah, you don't need.
Over the years, I mean, I get lonely too.
Sure.
But generally, I'm not looking for I don't want to meet everybody on my block and do all that.
Yeah, I got you.
But you just got to do some of that, particularly at an early age. It's part of the deal.
Yeah.
And so we've got to get some people out there doing stuff.
I agree with you. And I think sometimes, and this is just a weird caveat, but I think sometimes you kind of have to force yourself. You were talking about that trip, taking a trip, doing whatever you're going to do, your little soiree in Vegas. Yeah. But sometimes you think, man, I don't want to do that. Like we had a reunion, a class reunion. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
I know. But sometimes you don't want to do things. They turn out to be the best thing you could ever imagine.
Exactly. So do them. Do them. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, do it.
I mean, I'm going through physical therapy for a back issue.
Yeah.
So that would be the big reason I don't want to go to Vegas, because Vegas and the airport in Vegas, you walk yourself to death.
Yeah, you do. It's pretty big.
I just talked myself out of that.
Well, wait a second. They got painkillers you can take and get through.
Ain't enough painkillers to get you through Vegas. Vegas, it really is. If you want to get your 10,000 steps in, go to Vegas.
That's the new slogan for Vegas.
You got to walk yourself 1,000,000 miles in Vegas.
The new slogan.
And that's okay with me because it's exciting to walk there. They also say when you're in Vegas these days, that the smell of dope is so out there.
Yeah, well, legal there.
It is really, really high. Same way in a lot of New York City, but they said in Vegas, it is really strong.
Fascinating. Just fascinating. Well, look, I mean, we got to get out. We got to meet people. If nothing else, look, Jimmy and I from this podcast, so email us. You can do that. Go to AskJimmyCarter.com, and you can click on the email. Email us. Get to know Jimmy and I. Send me an email, walkerderrick@gmail.com. And, of course, we do this every single week, twice a week. Make sure you lock yourself into Sweeping the Country, the podcast. Until next week, I'm Derek Walker. He is...
I'm Jimmy Carter.
Good day.
Good day.